Part 1. The First Red Flags. Expanded store. Lisa was excited about finding a new roommate. After weeks of awkward interviews and weird people showing up at her door, Maya seemed like a breath of fresh air. She was cheerful, had a steady job at a local marketing company, and most importantly, she could pay her half of the rent on time. During their first meeting, Maya was polite and respectful. She asked all the right questions about utilities, house rules, and cleaning schedules. Lisa felt like she had finally found someone normal to share her two-bedroom apartment with. The first week went smoothly. Maya moved in with just a few boxes and some basic furniture. She was quiet, clean, and even brought Lisa a small plant as a housewarming gift. They had pleasant conversations over morning coffee and seemed to have similar tastes in movies. In music, Lisa started to relax, thinking she had made a great choice. Everything felt comfortable and natural. But then small things started happening. That made Lisa feel uneasy, though she couldn't quite put her finger on why. The first incident happened during her weekly phone call with her mother. Lisa was in her bedroom with the door closed, talking about her job stress and some personal issues she was dealing with. The conversation was private, the kind of chat she only had with close family members. The next morning, Maya casually mentioned something while they were having breakfast. "I hope things get better with your boss," she said, stirring her coffee. "It sounds like he's been really difficult lately." Lisa froze with her spoon halfway to her mouth. She was sure she hadn't mentioned anything about work problems to Maya. In fact, she had specifically talked about her boss during that private call with her mother. When Lisa asked how Maya knew about her work situation, Maya just laughed it off. "Oh, you know how thin these apartment walls are," she said with a wave of her hand. "I couldn't help but hear bits and pieces when I was in the kitchen. I wasn't trying to listen or anything." She seemed so casual about it that Lisa started to doubt herself. Maybe she had mentioned something about work in passing. Maybe the walls really were thin. A few days later, another strange thing happened. Lisa had ordered some books online. Nothing special, just a couple of novels she wanted to read. When she came home from work, she found the package on the kitchen counter, already opened. Maya was cooking dinner and greeted her with a big smile. "Oh, your books came today," Maya said, as if nothing was unusual. "I hope you don't mind that I opened it. I thought it might be something we had ordered together for the apartment, like those storage containers we talked about getting." Lisa stared at the open package, feeling confused and annoyed. "But it had my name on it," Lisa said carefully, trying not to sound accusatory. "And I don't remember us ordering anything together." Recently, Maya looked genuinely surprised by Lisa's reaction. "I'm so sorry," Maya said, looking hurt. "I really thought it might be something for both of us. I was just trying to be helpful. I can be more careful next time." Her apology seemed sincere, and Lisa started to feel bad for making a big deal out of it. Maybe Maya was just being thoughtful. Maybe Lisa was being too sensitive about things. But the feeling of unease didn't go away. Over the next few days, Lisa started noticing other small things. Her coffee mug would be in a different spot than where she left it. Her mail stack would be rearranged in a slightly different order. Her laptop seemed to be positioned differently on her desk. When she came home from work, none of these things were major, and Lisa began to wonder if she was just being paranoid. The breaking point came when Lisa was getting ready for a date. She was in her room, talking to her best friend about her nervousness and asking for advice about what to wear. It was a personal conversation about her dating life, her insecurities, and her hopes for this new relationship. She was speaking quietly with her door closed. Later that evening, when Lisa returned from her date feeling happy and excited, Maya was waiting in the living room with a cup of tea. "So how did it go with that guy from the coffee shop?" Maya asked with genuine interest. "Did he like the blue dress you were worried about?" Lisa felt her stomach drop. She had never told Maya about meeting someone at a coffee shop. She had never mentioned the blue dress dilemma to anyone except her best friend. During that private phone call, this time, when Lisa questioned how Maya knew these details, Maya's explanation felt less convincing. You must have mentioned it to me earlier," Maya said, but she avoided eye contact. "Or maybe I overheard you talking to someone on the phone. These apartments really don't have much privacy, you know." But Lisa knew she hadn't mentioned the date to Maya at all. She had been deliberately private about her dating life, because she didn't know Maya well enough to share personal details. That night, lying in bed, Lisa started to realize that her new roommate might not be as respectful of boundaries as she had initially thought. The open package, the overheard conversations, the small changes to her belongings, they were starting to form a pattern. That made Lisa uncomfortable. Maya seemed to have a very different idea about what was normal roommate behavior. Lisa tried to give Maya the benefit of the doubt. Maybe she was just lonely and trying to be friendly. Maybe she genuinely didn't understand that some things should remain private. Maybe Lisa was overreacting to innocent mistakes and coincidences. But deep down, Lisa was starting to feel like she was being watched and monitored in her own home. The happy excitement about finding a great roommate was slowly being replaced by a nagging worry that Lisa had invited someone into her life who didn't understand the basic concept of personal space and privacy. She hoped she was wrong. But the red flags were becoming harder to ignore with each passing day. Part 2, Escalating Intrusions, expanded story after those first few unsettling weeks. Lisa hoped things would settle down with Maya. Maybe her roommate would start understanding boundaries better. Or maybe Lisa had just been overthinking everything. But instead of getting better, Maya's behavior started getting worse in ways that made Lisa question her own sanity. It began with small things that Lisa couldn't quite prove. She would come home from work and feel like something was different in her room, but she couldn't figure out exactly what. Her laptop would be closed when she was sure she had left it open. Her desk chair would be pushed in when she remembered, leaving it pulled out. Her bedroom door would be slightly more open than she had left it. These were tiny details that most people wouldn't notice. But Lisa had always been particular about how she left her space. At first, she tried to convince herself that she was just forgetting how she had left things. Maybe she was stressed from work and not paying attention. Maybe she was becoming paranoid for no reason. But the feeling kept growing stronger that someone was going through her personal space. When she wasn't home, the situation with her belongings got more obvious as time went on. Lisa kept a journal on her nightstand where she wrote down her thoughts and feelings before bed. It was a private habit she had maintained for years, and she always left the journal in the same position with her pen beside it. One evening, she noticed the journal was turned at a different angle, and the pen was on the opposite side. When she opened it, she could swear that some of the pages looked like they had been flipped through, even though the writing was exactly as she had left it. Maya's questions also became more personal and intrusive. During their casual conversations, she would ask things that felt too intimate for their level of friendship. "How much money do you make at your job?" Maya asked one morning over coffee, as casually as if she were asking about the weather. When Lisa looked surprised, Maya quickly added, "I'm just curious because I'm thinking about looking for a new position, and I want to know what's reasonable to expect." Another time, Maya wanted to know details about Lisa's family relationships. Are your parents still married? Do you talk to your dad often? What does your mom think about your dating life? The questions came rapid fire, and when Lisa gave short, vague answers, Maya would press for more details. "Come on, we're roommates," Maya would say with a laugh. "We should know these things about each other." But the most uncomfortable conversations were about Lisa's personal life. Maya wanted to know about her past relationships, her dating experiences, and even her medical appointments. When Lisa mentioned she had a doctor's appointment, Maya immediately wanted to know what kind of doctor, what the appointment was for, and whether everything was okay with her health. When Lisa said it was just a routine checkup, Maya kept pushing. "But what kind of routine checkup? Is it something you have to do regularly? Are you worried about anything specific?" The boundary crossing reached a new level when Lisa decided to put a simple lock on her bedroom door. She wasn't trying to be dramatic or send a message. She just wanted to feel secure in her own space and know that her personal belongings would stay exactly where she left them. The lock was basic, nothing fancy, just something to give her peace of mind. Maya's reaction was immediate and intense. The moment she saw the lock, her whole demeanor changed. Her usual cheerful expression turned hurt and confused. "Why do you need a lock?" she asked, her voice shaking slightly. "Are you trying to keep me out? Don't you trust me?" Lisa tried to explain that it wasn't personal, that she just liked having privacy in her bedroom, but Maya wasn't satisfied. With that answer, roommates should trust each other completely, Maya said, her eyes filling with tears. "We're supposed to be like family. Family members don't lock doors against each other. It makes me feel like you think I'm some kind of criminal or something." She went on to say that Lisa was being hurtful and suspicious for no reason, and that putting up barriers between them was damaging their friendship. Lisa felt terrible seeing Maya so upset, but she also felt frustrated that her simple desire for privacy was being turned into such a big, emotional issue. She tried to reassure Maya that the lock wasn't about not trusting her, it was just about having personal space. But Maya continued to bring it up over the following days, making comments about how sad it made her feel to be shut out of Lisa's life. The most disturbing incident happened when Lisa left her phone on the kitchen counter while she took a quick shower. When she came back, Maya was holding the phone, scrolling through something on the screen. When Maya saw Lisa watching her, she quickly set the phone down with a guilty expression. "I'm sorry," Maya said immediately. "I was just checking the time. My phone battery died, and I needed to know what time it was." But Lisa could see that her phone screen was showing her text messages, not the clock. When she picked up her phone, she noticed that several unread messages were now marked as read. "Maya, you were looking at my messages," Lisa said, trying to keep her voice calm. Maya's face turned red, and she became defensive. "I wasn't trying to read your private stuff," she insisted. "I just touched the screen to check the time, and it must have opened by accident. I didn't read anything important, I promise." But Lisa could tell that Maya was lying. The way she had been holding the phone, the guilty look on her face, and the fact that multiple messages had been opened all pointed to the same conclusion. Maya had been deliberately going through her personal communications. That night, Lisa lay in bed feeling exhausted and confused. Living with Maya was becoming emotionally draining in a way she had never experienced before. Every day brought new violations of her privacy, new uncomfortable questions, and new situations where she felt like she had to defend her right to personal space. Maya's behavior was making Lisa feel like a prisoner in her own home, constantly watching over her shoulder and second-guessing her own perceptions of what was normal and acceptable. Part 3. Digital Violations. Expanded Store. Lisa thought the phone incident would be a wake-up call for Maya, but instead, things got much worse. What started as small boundary crossings had now turned into something that made Lisa feel like she was living under constant surveillance. The worst part was that Maya seemed to think her behavior was completely normal, even caring. The first sign that something serious was happening came when Lisa noticed strange activity on her social media accounts. She was scrolling through Instagram one evening when she saw that her stories had been viewed by accounts she didn't recognize. The usernames were random combinations of letters and numbers, clearly fake profiles. But what made Lisa's stomach drop was when Maya casually mentioned one of the posts from Lisa's private story during dinner the next day. "That restaurant you went to yesterday looked amazing," Maya said while cutting her salad, "the pasta dish. And your story made me so hungry. We should go there together sometime." Lisa nearly choked on her food. Her Instagram story from the restaurant had been set to close friends only, a small list of about 10 people she trusted. Maya wasn't on that list, and Lisa was certain she had never shown Maya her phone during dinner. "How did you see my story?" Lisa asked carefully, trying not to sound accusatory. Maya looked confused for a moment, as if she hadn't realized she had revealed something she shouldn't know. "Oh, I think I saw it when you showed me your phone the other day," Maya said quickly. But Lisa knew that was impossible. She had been very careful about her phone since the kitchen incident. Lisa started paying closer attention to her digital accounts. She noticed that emails she hadn't read were marked as read. When she checked them later, her Facebook messages showed as seen, even though she was sure she hadn't opened them. Most disturbing of all, her Netflix account showed recently watched shows that she had never seen. Someone was clearly accessing her accounts, and there was only one person who could be doing it. The situation became undeniable when Lisa decided to test her suspicions. She posted a story on Instagram about planning to visit a new coffee shop across town, but she never actually went there. The next day, Maya asked her how the coffee was at that new place she had visited. When Lisa said she hadn't gone anywhere, Maya backtracked quickly, claiming she must have misunderstood something Lisa had said earlier. But Maya's slip-ups kept happening. She would mention details from Lisa's private text conversations with friends she knew about a work meeting that Lisa had only written about in her personal email drafts. She even referenced a funny video that Lisa had saved to her private social media collections, but never shared with anyone. The most shocking discovery came when Lisa found Maya in the kitchen at midnight, taking photos of Lisa's mail with her phone. Lisa had left some bank statements and medical paperwork on the counter, planning to file them away the next morning. She woke up to get some water and saw the flash of Maya's phone camera through the crack under her bedroom door. Lisa waited a few minutes, then quietly opened her door. Maya was standing at the kitchen counter with Lisa's bank statement in one hand and her phone in the other, clearly photographing the document. When Maya heard Lisa's footsteps, she quickly shoved the papers back into a messy pile and tried to hide her phone behind her back. "What are you doing?" Lisa asked, her heart pounding. Maya's face went completely red, and she started stammering. I couldn't sleep, so I came to get some water. I accidentally knocked over your papers, and I was just trying to put them back in order." But Lisa could see that her bank statement was on top of the pile when she had specifically put it at the bottom under other less important mail. "Were you taking pictures of my bank statement?" Lisa asked directly. Maya's eyes filled with tears, and she became defensive immediately. "No, of course not. Why would I do that? I was just using my phone's flashlight to see what papers I had scattered. I didn't want to turn on the bright kitchen light and wake you up." But Lisa had seen the camera flash, not a flashlight. She had seen Maya holding the document up to photograph it. There was no way this was an innocent mistake. "Maya, I saw you taking photos," Lisa said firmly. "I saw the camera flash from under my door." Maya started crying harder and became angry. "You're being paranoid again," she said through her tears. "You're always accusing me of things I'm not doing. I'm trying to be a good roommate, and you keep treating me like I'm some kind of criminal. It hurts my feelings that you don't trust me at all." She went on to explain that she had been struggling with anxiety lately, and that Lisa's constant suspicion was making it worse. "I've been having trouble sleeping because I'm worried that you hate me," Maya said. "I've been trying so hard to be a good friend to you, but nothing I do is right. You put locks on your door, you hide your phone from me, and now you're accusing me of stealing your personal information." Maya's emotional response made Lisa feel confused and guilty. Was she being too harsh? Was she misinterpreting innocent behavior? But then she remembered all the other incidents, the overheard conversations, the open packages, the accessed social media accounts, the phone snooping. There were too many coincidences for this to be a misunderstanding. "Maya, I need you to explain how you knew about my Instagram story that was set to private," Lisa said calmly, "and how you knew details about my text conversations with friends, and how you knew about things I only wrote in private emails." Maya's crying stopped suddenly, and she looked caught off guard by the direct questions. "I don't know what you're talking about," Maya said, but her voice was less convincing now. "Maybe you mentioned those things to me and forgot. Maybe I overheard you talking on the phone. You're making me feel like I can't do anything right in this apartment." Lisa realized that no matter what evidence she presented, Maya would always have an excuse or would turn the situation around to make Lisa feel like the problem. Maya seemed to genuinely believe that her behavior was acceptable, or at least that she could convince Lisa it was normal. The most frightening part was that Maya appeared to think her invasive actions were signs of friendship and care, not violations of trust and privacy. Part 4. The Breaking Point. Expanded story after the Midnight Kitchen incident. Lisa knew she had to be more careful about protecting her privacy. She started keeping all her important documents locked in a filing cabinet in her room. She changed all her passwords and made sure to log out of every account when she finished using her devices. She even started taking her laptop to work with her instead of leaving it at home. But despite all these precautions, Maya seemed to find new ways to invade her personal space. The next violation was the most personal one yet. Lisa had been keeping a diary since high school, writing down her thoughts, feelings, and daily experiences. It was her private sanctuary where she could be completely honest about everything happening in her life. She kept it in the locked drawer of her nightstand, thinking it would be safe there. One evening, Lisa came home from work feeling exhausted after a particularly stressful day. She wanted to write about her frustrations with her boss and some family drama that had been bothering her. When she opened her diary to the most recent entry, something felt wrong. The pages didn't fall open the way they usually did. The bookmark ribbon was in a different position than where she had left it. As she flipped through the recent pages, Lisa noticed small signs that someone had been reading her most private thoughts. There were tiny smudges on pages that had been cleaned before. Some pages had slight creases that hadn't been there previously. Most telling of all, when she held the diary up to the light, she could see faint impressions on some pages, as if someone had pressed too hard while turning them. Lisa felt sick to her stomach. Reading someone's diary was crossing a line that she never thought anyone would cross. These weren't just her random thoughts. She had written about her deepest fears, her relationship problems, her family secrets, and her most embarrassing moments. The idea that Maya had read all of these intimate details made Lisa feel completely exposed and vulnerable. But the worst was yet to come. A few days later, Lisa decided to go to bed early after a long day. She had changed into her pajamas and was just about to turn off her light when she heard her bedroom door handle turning. She had locked it, as she always did now, but she could hear someone trying to open it quietly. Lisa stayed perfectly still, pretending to be asleep, and listened carefully. She could hear Maya whispering something under her breath, probably frustrated that the door was locked. After a few minutes of silence, Lisa thought Maya had given up and gone back to her own room. But then she heard a soft clicking sound that made her blood run cold. Maya was picking the lock. Lisa couldn't believe what she was hearing. The simple lock she had installed wasn't meant to keep out determined intruders. It was just supposed to provide basic privacy. But Maya was actually trying to break into her room while she thought Lisa was sleeping. The clicking and scraping sounds continued for what felt like forever, and Lisa lay there in the dark, terrified and angry. Finally, the lock gave way, and Lisa heard her door open slowly. She kept her eyes closed and tried to breathe steadily, pretending to be in deep sleep. Through her barely open eyelids, she could see Maya's silhouette in the doorway, lit by the hallway light behind her. Maya stood there for a long moment, as if making sure Lisa was really asleep. Then Maya crept into the room. Lisa watched in horror as Maya moved toward her dresser and started quietly opening drawers. She could hear the soft sounds of Maya going through her personal belongings, her clothes, her jewelry, her letters from family members. Maya was being as quiet as possible, but in the silent room, every small sound seemed amplified. The most disturbing part was watching Maya take out her phone and use it to photograph things in Lisa's drawers. Lisa could see the dim glow of the phone screen and the occasional flash when Maya took pictures. She was documenting Lisa's most private possessions, creating a digital record of things that were meant to be completely personal. Lisa wanted to jump up and confront Maya immediately, but she was also terrified of what might happen. Maya's behavior had become so unpredictable and intense that Lisa wasn't sure how she would react to being caught in such a clear violation. So Lisa stayed frozen, watching this nightmare unfold in her own bedroom. After what felt like hours but was probably only 20 minutes, Maya finally crept back toward the door. But instead of leaving, she stopped at Lisa's nightstand. Lisa's heart pounded as she realized Maya was going for her diary again. Even though it was locked in the drawer, Maya had apparently figured out how to get to it. That's when Lisa couldn't take any more. "What are you doing?" she said loudly, sitting up in bed and turning on her lamp. Maya spun around like a deer caught in headlights, still holding Lisa's diary in her hands. For a moment, neither of them said anything. Maya's face went through a series of expressions: surprise, guilt, fear, and then something that looked almost angry. "I was looking for a phone charger," Maya said, but her voice was shaking. "I thought you might have an extra one in here." She was still holding the diary, and there was obviously no phone charger anywhere near the nightstand. "You picked my lock," Lisa said, her voice getting louder. "You broke into my room while I was sleeping. You were going through my personal things and taking pictures of them. And now you're holding my diary." Each accusation made Maya's face turn redder. But instead of looking ashamed, she looked defensive. "You're being dramatic," Maya said, finally setting the diary down. "I wasn't taking pictures of anything important, and I only looked at your diary because I'm worried about you. You've been acting so strange and paranoid lately. I thought maybe if I understood what you were thinking, I could help you." Lisa stared at Maya in disbelief, even caught red-handed in the most obvious violation possible. Maya was still trying to make it seem like her actions were motivated by care and concern. She was turning Lisa's need for privacy into a mental health issue that required Maya's intervention. "Get out of my room," Lisa said firmly. "Right now." Maya's expression changed again, this time to hurt and confusion. "Lisa, you're overreacting," she said. "I'm just trying to be a good friend. Friends look out for each other. They don't keep secrets and lock doors." But Lisa was done listening to excuses and explanations. The trust between them was completely broken, and she finally understood that Maya's behavior wasn't going to change on its own. Part 5. Setting Boundaries and Moving Forward. Expanded story. The morning after catching Maya in her room, Lisa knew everything had to change. She couldn't continue living in fear, constantly looking over her shoulder and protecting her personal space like it was a fortress. But she also realized that Maya's behavior wasn't just about being nosy or inconsiderate. There was something deeper going on that was beyond Lisa's ability to fix. Lisa spent her lunch break at work researching what to do about roommate conflicts. She read articles about boundary setting, watched videos about dealing with difficult people, and even looked up information about when someone's behavior crosses the line from annoying to concerning. Everything she read confirmed what she already knew. Maya's actions weren't normal roommate issues that could be solved with a simple conversation. When Lisa got home that evening, Maya was waiting for her in the living room with red, puffy eyes. It was clear she had been crying for hours. As soon as Lisa walked through the door, Maya started talking rapidly, as if she had been rehearsing what to say all day. "I'm so sorry about last night," Maya began, her voice shaking. "I know how it looked, and I know you're angry with me, but I need you to understand that I wasn't trying to hurt you or invade your privacy. I've been having really bad anxiety lately, and it's making me do things that I know aren't right." Lisa sat down across from Maya, keeping her distance but willing to listen. She had been angry all day, but seeing Maya so distressed made her feel a mixture of emotions she couldn't quite sort out. Maya continued talking, her words coming out in a rush. "Ever since my last roommate moved out without warning, I've been terrified that everyone is going to leave me," Maya explained. "She just packed up one day and left a note saying she found a better place. I never saw it coming, and it made me feel like I couldn't trust my own judgment about people anymore." Maya went on to describe how this experience had affected her mental state. She talked about lying awake at night worrying that Lisa was planning to move out. She explained that going through Lisa's things and reading her private communications was her way of trying to predict whether Lisa was going to abandon her too. "I thought if I knew everything about your life, I could tell if you were getting ready to leave," Maya said, tears streaming down her face. I know it sounds crazy when I say it out loud, but in my head, it made sense. I thought I was protecting myself from being hurt again. Lisa listened to Maya's explanation with mixed feelings. On one hand, she felt genuine sympathy for someone who was clearly struggling with anxiety and abandonment issues. On the other hand, she was frustrated that Maya's problems had become Lisa's problem without her consent. Understanding why someone violated your privacy didn't make the violations okay. Maya, I appreciate you being honest with me, Lisa said carefully. But understanding why you did these things doesn't change the fact that you did them. You went through my personal belongings, read my diary, accessed my accounts, and broke into my room while I was sleeping. Those actions hurt me and made me feel unsafe in my own home. Maya nodded eagerly, as if she was relieved that Lisa was listening. I know, and I want to make it right, she said. I'll do whatever you need me to do. I'll give you space. I'll respect your privacy. I'll even move out if that's what you want. I just don't want you to hate me. Lisa had spent all day thinking about whether she wanted Maya to move out, and she still wasn't sure. Finding a new roommate would be difficult and expensive. Maya did seem genuinely remorseful, and her explanation about anxiety made her behavior more understandable, if not acceptable. But Lisa also knew that mental health struggles didn't excuse harmful actions. I don't want you to move out, Lisa said finally, but things have to change completely. And I mean completely, Maya. No more going through my things, no more listening to my phone calls, no more accessing my accounts, and absolutely no more coming into my room without permission. Maya nodded vigorously, promising to respect all of Lisa's boundaries. But Lisa wasn't finished. I also think you need to talk to someone about your anxiety, she continued. This level of worry and these behaviors aren't healthy for you or for anyone you live with. I can help you find resources, but you need to actually use them. Over the next few days, Lisa helped Maya research counseling options through their health insurance and local community resources. Maya was initially resistant to the idea of therapy, saying she could handle her problems on her own. But when Lisa made it clear that getting professional help was a requirement for continuing to live together, Maya agreed to make an appointment. Lisa also made practical changes to protect her privacy going forward. She installed a better lock on her bedroom door and set up a separate internet network that Maya couldn't access. She moved all her important documents to a locked box and started being more careful about her digital security. These weren't punitive measures, they were necessary protections that helped Lisa feel safe in her own home. The hardest part was learning to trust her own instincts again. Maya's constant gaslighting and manipulation had made Lisa doubt her own perceptions of reality. She had to remind herself that her need for privacy was normal and healthy, and that asking for basic respect wasn't unreasonable. Maya's progress in therapy was slow but real. Her counselor helped her understand that her anxiety about abandonment was causing her to engage in controlling behaviors that actually pushed people away. She learned healthier ways to cope with her fears and started respecting Lisa's boundaries more consistently. Their relationship never went back to the easy friendship Lisa had hoped for when Maya first moved. And there was always an underlying tension and a lack of trust that couldn't be completely repaired. But they found a way to coexist peacefully, with clear boundaries and mutual respect for each other's space. Lisa learned valuable lessons about standing up for herself and trusting her instincts. When something felt wrong, she realized that being kind and understanding didn't mean accepting unacceptable behavior, and that she had the right to feel safe and respected in her own home. Maya learned that her mental health struggles, while real and valid, didn't give her the right to violate other people's boundaries. She discovered that true friendship was built on respect and trust, not on controlling and monitoring the other person's life. The experience changed both of them in ways they never expected, teaching them about the importance of healthy boundaries, honest communication, and the difference between caring about someone and trying to control them.